Hello! Welcome to Essay Nights, the Essay Slayers. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through gender conflict in and amb. Euro. And amb. Tilde. A Midsummer Night and amb. Euro. And amb. Trade. S-stream and amb. Euro. And amb. Trade. Essay. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at Essay Nights. The link is in the description. It is evident that in A Midsummer Night's Dream gender conflict is not the only source of comic disorder in the exposition of the play. This can be seen due to the number of other events and scenes which are sources of comic disorder, such as character relationships, stereotypes in status and authoritative conflicts. An element of comic disorder in the exposition of A Midsummer Night Unregistered Trademark S-stream is the idea of men having a higher status than women. The theme of men having control over women is also reinforced in the relationship between Hippolyta and Theseus. Theseus states that he has awed thee with my sword, and won thy love doing thee injuries. Whether this is taken in a sexual context or a violent one, it highlights the idea of men having the power and force to overpower and subdue women. The fact that Hippolyta is the queen of the Amazons shows just how strong this idea is, as she would have been a powerful and strong warrior herself. The theme of the old having power over the young is explored with the idea that Hermia's father has complete power over her as she is just a young woman. The fact that only old men hold the high, authoritative positions in Athens again reinforces this idea that the old and the male rule the people. However, this is humorous to an Elizabethan audience, as the English monarch at the time was in fact Queen Elizabeth. Famed for her ferociousness and female power, this is greatly juxtaposed with the treatment of the women in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Particularly because Queen Elizabeth was actually a fairly young monarch. The quote, "Oh, if she's mine I may dispose of her," directly reinforces the idea that women are simply the possessions of men, whether they be their daughters or their wives. Another representation of these themes is the conflict between Oberon and Titania. Titania is being again the disobedient woman who will not do as her powerful husband wishes. Oberon states in Act 2 Scene 1, "O ye tarry, rash wanton. Am not I thy lord?" which enforces the idea that Titania should be obeying Oberon, not being sarcastic and brazen. She replies to Oberon, "O then I must be thy lady. But I know, when thou hast stolen away from fairyland, and in the shape of corn sat all day, laying on pipes of corn and versing love to amorous Phillida," in an accusational tone accusing him of being unfaithful to her. As a woman, Titania is exerting power and makes herself almost Oberon unregistered trademark S equal in their back and forth bickering. However, this displeases Oberon, as she should be submissive and passive towards his behaviors. So, Oberon decides to humiliate Titania in order to achieve what he wants, which in this case, is the Indian boy. However, Oberon does not have a claim to the boy, as he was rightfully given to Titania to look after, due to his mother unregistered trademark S death. The fact that Oberon must humiliate Titania into getting what he wants demonstrates how much of a strong character Titania is, and creates a great parallel of whom has the power in the magical unregistered trademark relationship. This humiliation technique is comic to an Elizabethan man, as this meek representation of women would have appealed to the sexist humor and values of the era. We see this conflict with Hermia and her father Aegeus when Aegeus is taking her to see Theseus, the ruler of Athens, because of her refusal to marry Demetrius. Aegeus has arranged for her to marry Demetrius, a common practice in ancient Greece and the ancient world. An Elizabethan audience, especially women, would be able to relate to this, as arranged marriages would still take place for money and status. A source of comic disorder in the exposition of A Midsummer Night's Dream is the character relationships. Lysander's attempts in the woods to sleep with Hermia are very humorous to the audience, as they see the problems with lust and pride of virginity in young love. The quote, "O one turf shall serve as pillow for us both. One heart, one bed, two bosoms and one troth," shows that although Lysander may be rippling prettily, he is implying he wants to be able to hold or be close to Hermia's breasts. The repetition of the word one unregistered trademark shows Lysander's desires to become one unregistered trademark with Hermia, which is a reference to sex. However, it also could be that Lysander desires to spiritually be one unregistered trademark with Ilana, not just physically but mentally. This could be linked with the way the forest brings out the character's spirituality. In Northrop Frye's Oath Green World, he discusses how the main characters escape the order of a city for a forested and wild setting adjacent to the city. This natural environment is often described as a green world. It is in this more loosely structured, fantastic environment that issues surround social order, romantic relationships, and intergenerational strife, which are a prominent part of the Oz-City world, become resolved, facilitating a return to the normal order. In correspondence with this, recent literary critics drawn to eco-criticism have occasionally found the concept valuable to their work as well. Lysander unregistered trademark S advances cause comic disorder as they explore the idea of letting the character's sexuality free in the forest. This is funny to a male and female Elizabethan audience as Lysander's attempts to sleep with Hermia are quickly shunned by a prim Hermia who quickly guesses his hidden meanings. Another couple to cause comic disorder in the exposition are Helena and Demetrius, due to Helena's utter lust in doting for Demetrius. This shows gender role reversal as Helena should be a lady who is wooed and pursued. An example of this being "Oh, we cannot fight for love as men may do. We should be wooed and we're not made to woo." Helena admits that she is consciously gender role reversing, however she will continue to do so until Demetrius loves her. This is comic as it shows how her attempts to seduce Demetrius fail time and time again, and she uses very comic language to express her desperation for Demetrius to return her feelings. For example, "Oh, I am your spaniel." And, "Demetrius, the more you beat me the more I will fawn on you." This unbelievably derogatory analysis of Helena by herself is sad yet comic as she is supposed to be a lady who is reserved and does not make her feelings known, never mind in such a dramatic and desperate fashion. This humor in the exposition sets up the themes of gender role reversal and sexuality in A Midsummer Night Unregistered Trademark S Dream. Puck is obviously a main source of comic disorder in A Midsummer Night's Dream Unregistered Trademark, for example, is disastrous mix-up of Lysander and Demetrius. Though A Midsummer Night Unregistered Trademark S Dream divides its action between several groups of characters, Puck is the closest thing the play has to a protagonist. His mischievous spirit pervades the atmosphere, and his actions are responsible for many of the complications that develop the main plots in a chaotic way. Puck sees himself as a naughty master that plays with mortal people as if they were puppets. He takes advantage of one of humankind unregistered trademark S weakness, love. For Puck, love is either a nuisance, played more evil than good, or just a comical disaster that humans and other beings stupid enough to fall into it, to entertain him. The audience can see this when he says "Oh, up and down, up and down. I will lead them up and down, I am their unregistered trademark D in field and town. Goblin, lead them up and down." This quotation highlights how mischievous he is and how he tortures humans in their love affairs by causing chaos and malfunction. Puck unregistered trademark S transformations also cause mass comic disorder in Unregistered Trademark A Midsummer Night Unregistered Trademark S Dream Unregistered Trademark. He famously transforms Bottom unregistered trademark S head into that of a donkey, and he unregistered trademark is also fond of shape-shifting himself. At one point, he brags that he often pretends to be a stool and then disappears so that old ladies will land on their elbows. He also terrorizes the mechanicals in the woods after turning their friend into a human donkey, Bottom. One could say that Puck parallels Philostrate unregistered trademark S position as Theseus unregistered trademark S a master of revels. In Elizabethan England, the master of the revels was a male who was in charge of all the entertainment at court, organizing entertainment and parties for the king and court. Philostrate unregistered trademark S job is to make sure Theseus and his court is entertained. Puck unregistered trademark S main job, much alike Philostrate, is to entertain his king and his fairy comrades with farce and comedy. Puck often in the play takes on the role of the court jester. As Puck says, his duty is to just to Oberon and make him smile. And he does this with the humiliation of Titania, causing her to fall in love with Bottom, and by accidentally causing hilarious chaos within Lysander, Hermia, Helena and Demetrius' unregistered trademark love lives. Puck either intends to, or ends up causing chaos which is always motivated by love. Therefore Shakespeare uses to him to personify the trials and tribulations that true love brings, whether it be jealousy, controlling natures or disobedience. However, it is true that gender conflict is a main part of comic disorder in the exposition of A Midsummer Night's Dream. The conflicts between Aegeus and Hermia, Oberon and Titania, Helena and Demetrius, Theseus and Hermia and Lysander and Hermia are all to do with issues between men and women. These issues mainly being sexuality, power and rights. However, it is not the only source of comic disorder in the exposition, due to the fact the exposition contains the other themes of comic disorder. Gender conflict is based on the cultural beliefs various societies have established concerning the roles men and women play in those societies. Much of the conflict centers on stereotypes and whether the different genders conform to those stereotypes, so therefore in A Midsummer Night's Dreams, gender conflict is definitely something that appears a lot in the exposition. Particularly with the disobedience of Hermia and the gender role reversal of Helena with her behavior towards Demetrius. However, it is evident that gender conflict is not the only source of comic disorder in the exposition of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about gender conflict in and amb. Euro. And amb. Tilde. A Midsummer Night and amb. Euro. And amb. Trade. S-Stream and amb. Euro. And amb. Trade. Essay as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at Essay Nights for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.